Good morning. I was just stretching. Hannah's just gone to let the cat back in because she's definitely decided, she was adamant she was going out just around about 6:05. But less than an hour she's done of outside activity. And Finley's really excited because not just Hannah just coming downstairs, now Eden's here as well. And oh, no Eden this morning, we've got a unicorn. So it's a little special guest for coffee this morning. It's a small unicorn. Is this the unicorn that used to have wings and doesn't fly all the time now? Yeah. Have we got the wings? Somewhere. I've seen them upstairs in your room. You right, babe? You little snuggler? Oh, it's a very soft unicorn. Is it hard to barbecue a unicorn? What? I was only asking for a friend, not for me. Oh, I got spiked by the unicorn. So, good morning.
Oh man, look at me.
You're amazing. Your hair, it's fantastic. It's amazing.
I look like a cave woman.
Yes, that's right. We live in a cave. Just get
Try and
like
hold
a chicken bone with your hair up here to hold it in.
like a grown-up Pebbles.
Yes,
yeah.
that'd be so cool. So cool.
Sounds about right.
Speaking of Bam Bam.
It's feeling a little bit chilly this morning.
It is.
Eden Joy's come down in a onesie and Levi's come down in a blanket. And I definitely feel like I underestimated the weather when I put on a t-shirt.
It looks like a colourful extra from Aladdin. Hanging about in the marketplace. Blanket robe round him. That's cool. Yeah, so where are we? April 29th, Wednesday. And
Eden, do you want to let him back with you, babe?
we've definitely had a little drop in the old outdoor weather. I was going to do a workout outside yesterday and then had to run it in quick because there was a little bit of rain, bit of drizzle. So yeah, here we are, indoor lifestyle.
Yeah.
Getting out when we can. Yeah. So, got any thoughts today?
My thought is I'm just going to leave you for a moment while I deal with the dog and you.
He's a bit crazy this morning.
He is.
Really full on.
Very excitable.
Very excited. Thanks because everyone's turned up for this. The whole family's here. So yeah, what I thought I'd talk about today was something that keeps coming up in my line of work is goals and what you want to kind of do in health and fitness, but then looking at what you want to do in life. And you know, I was messaging with someone yesterday and they were asking how business was. I said, yeah, it's good, steady away, keeping going. And the message back was, yeah, kind of everything's changing, and obviously that led me to thinking about where I might end up, or where we might end up in terms of what this looks like going forward. And that's not to, as I said before, not to be kind of flippant or disregard what's going on, you know. Another friend, husband had to go to hospital yesterday for not related to coronavirus, but it's a scary time in that sense because, you know, really hospitals are a bit of an epicentre, aren't they, of where the virus might be particularly, and you know, all the measures are in place to prevent people from being infected, but that's very difficult to do with something that's like a contagious virus that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And this lady's a friend of mine couldn't go into hospital to be with her husband,
that's
you know.
really hard.
So that's really hard. And you know, generally you'd want to go in and be with your loved ones going into hospital, and you can't do that at the moment at all. So you know, a bit of FaceTime, they were keeping in contact, she said, which was great, but you know, still a worrying time. So I don't want to ever be disregarding or flippant about the situation at all. But you know, goals is something that comes up in terms of life, family, working out what's going to go on forward. Hey, Chloe. And obviously in my line of work as well, one of the first questions I ask someone who approaches me about training, health and fitness is, what are your goals with that? And sometimes it takes a little bit of teasing out, in the sense of, what I want to do, I want to lose weight. Cool. How much? What's the time frame? What have you done before that's worked? What have you done before that hasn't worked? What are the restrictions? The injuries? The fact that it's got 2 kids and a job and really busy and all those sorts of things, you know, to work through. And then sometimes we generally have to break that into much smaller, manageable chunks. And I was just thinking about this morning, actually. I wrote it down. There's a concept in a book called Good to Great, a guy by Jim Collins. And it's another one of those books I've been through a couple of times in different contexts. And he talks about, I think it's his book, or it certainly was around the time I was looking at that one. He talks about...
Actually, somebody else.
Are there bags under my eyes? Yes. I'll tell you why. Because I've had them, I don't know, since forever. I've always had bags under my eyes. I just have bags under my eyes. Plus I wake up around about 5:30 to 6, so that's doesn't help. Doesn't help. I was actually asleep last night, about 10:30.
That's good.
I know. Yeah, so in his book, Good to Great, he actually talks about different companies that have gone from fairly small to like internationally recognised super brands, like we talk about Gillette and
The best a man can get.
Different car manufacturers. Talks about the story of Ford, things like that as well. Morning, Dave. And you know, he focuses on a little bit of the how they did that, and often it is to do with someone coming in or someone within the company realising they need to do something different from what they've always done, particularly in changing markets. And the term he kind of comes up with is a BHAG, which sounds a bit weird, doesn't it?
BHAG?
BHAG stands
very
for
weird.
Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. That's what it stands for. Like from where
Sounds like you.
I know where they are now to where they want to get to, and it might be completely kind of, in a sense, mind blowing and completely ridiculous in a sense. That's why it's Big, Hairy, Audacious Goal. And actually, they then attach I might be mixing up different books and things here, so someone will correct me. They then attach the analogy that the person who's carrying the BHAG, Morning Helena, is like a hedgehog.
Oh, okay. BHAG, that's awesome.
It's like a hedgehog, and they have this big, hairy, audacious goal, and other people get kind of spiked onto the hedgehog and carried towards the goal.
Nice.
Okay, but then
It's very visual. It's good for the visual learners.
It is good for the visual learner, and it's actually like there's not many pictures in the book apart from these cartoons of this hedgehog, which is genius. And then they reverse engineer it backwards through the goal. And reading some stuff recently, Elon Musk, the guy who owns Tesla and has done like phenomenal kind of scientific development over the last few years.
His name Elon. I always thought it was Elon.
It's not Eaton, it's E-L.
I always thought it was Elon Musk.
It's Elon Musk.
It's
Morning,
Elon
Helen.
Musk. It was Elon Musk.
He is apparently his whole proviso of doing research and then taking it into a concept that can then actually become a product, like the cars, is to focus on where they're starting, where they want to get to, and break it down almost as simply as possible, and try and kind of take out any fluffy things along the way. So, for example, fluffy things for them as a car manufacturer, they make good-looking cars by the time it comes to market. As they're developing it, they literally just use a box as how the car looks. So they don't care about how it looks.
You mean the cream leather interior is not the most important part of the car?
Doesn't go in until they've actually decided we're going to produce this car.
So when people ask me what car I like, and I'm like, oh, that blue one.
Yeah, that's it. That's not what they focus on. Not the focus. I mean, that's a different story with Ford, because they only ever made blue cars for years and years and years.
Mm-hmm.
And then they realised...
Rabbit hole.
That's it. It's a similar sort of thing.
Yeah.
A similar sort of thing. So the point there is that you can have this amazing goal, and that's really good, you know. And I believe that, you know, we need something to look forward to. We need a bit of purpose and things to work towards. But we then kind of need to reverse engineer it into different steps. And I think we're all really good at setting a goal, but we're not very good at, first of all, being able to break it into steps, and then accepting that we have to do those steps to get towards the goal.
Yeah.
In some ways, sometimes I'm the opposite. Hannah will be talking about something, that is just, in a sense, quite an abstract idea. And I'll be like, okay, so to do that, we need to do this, this, and this. And she's like, are you listening? I'm like, no, I am listening, but I'm just thinking that to do that, what do you need to do? And I know that, in a sense, that sometimes takes the joy out of the dreaming side of it, doesn't it?
Well,
I'll say yes. Well,
no,
yes.
no, because I think that's why it's good to have different people around you.
True,
in order to help the dream become a reality, because I'm definitely a big picture person, and the steps are not, like, I know what I want it to look like.
Yeah.
I know I can tell you, like, all of the things about what it will be like in the end, but then you're the person that can go, okay, well, we need to do this, 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 and this in order to get from here to there. And I'm like, okay, fine, great.
That I mean, it is really cool. It does work really well. Good morning, John, as well. That, from my side, being kind of quite step and logical orientated, and don't get me wrong, I have kind of crazy ideas as well. It can mean that I can almost overthink it too soon and kind of take the kind of enthusiasm out of an idea
it's true.
at a too early a stage.
Sometimes
really.
you have to wait and let me be excited.
Yes.
And then.
And yeah.
Add in the steps gradually.
Yeah. And it probably should say at this stage, many of my ideas are very self-focused, shall we say. A lot of Hannah's ideas are more for all of us, or more family-focused, or more actually positive impact on the world focused, rather than what's nice for me, and you guys can come along for the ride sometimes. And I think that might be partly a male thing, and it might be partly mainly
driven person, aren't you? So
yeah, it is. Sometimes the hot stuff mug. You know what? This mug, Hannah got me this mug, and yes, I use it for my first drink in the morning. We were talking about this the other day. To remind myself that A, my wife is hot, and B, I am also hot as well. Anyway, for a hot drink. Anyway, but and we have different mugs for different times of day and different functions, which is bizarre. But what was I saying now? Forgotten.
Steps, vision, goal.
Elon Musk.
Did that bit, yeah.
Getting to the goal.
Getting to the goal. Ah, yeah. Because I guess the final thing then, I was just saying about a lot of the, I almost break it down too much.
Yeah.
And overanalyze it too soon.
Yeah.
But once you get going, I was sharing this the other day in my Facebook group, I was enjoying the process. Not all the steps or not all the things you need to implement or think about might be that exciting or that great, but if we can find some sort of enjoyment in each step, or if it means we need to find something out, then kind of appreciate that we've then learned something new, then that helps to kind of move things along. And over time, sometimes we do that, and actually that goal that we had, I'm thinking more kind of career and things like that. I want to get to X place in my career. As you go along through the steps to get there, and you do different learning or different courses, or just start to focus on different things in a different way, you might actually realise, I don't actually want to get to there. There's this other bit that I've now found out about that I'm actually more interested in and more likely to want to go into. And I mean, I've experienced that when I've been working. I've gone into management positions and things like that, where actually I've lost the joy of the job I was previously doing, and really I probably just needed to focus on that in a slightly different way, rather than kind of jumping up the career ladder. Yeah,
it can help you realise what the things are that you're actually passionate about.
Yeah, totally.
Sometimes it gets lost in the melee.
Totally. And it's taken me probably a good 20 odd years of working to actually look back at the different things I've done and realise that the kind of communication, teaching, coaching side of it has always been really prevalent. And I was a teacher, so it was obviously prevalent in that, but it wasn't necessarily the teaching the content of the science curriculum or the ICT curriculum. It was working with the young people individually to learn, but also be better in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and that was literally one of my jobs in education when I was working for TLG. Was working with individuals and small groups to overcome the barriers in their lives to not just education, but to function well and, you know, improve family relationships, improve relationships with their peers, and get for a lot of them to get back into mainstream education, or at least move on to onto college and things like that. And that I've realised over the years that's the most rewarding aspect for me, rather than jumping up to be in charge of that, as it were. You know, I like that kind of on the ground floor is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. That actual interaction you have with people, and when I've jumped up higher into more management type roles, you kind of lose that aspect. And I found myself when I was with Fitness First as a general manager being a little bit kind of, jealous is the wrong word, but because I had been a health and fitness manager, and then I was managing a health and fitness manager, I was like, I really kind of wish I was still doing his job. Yeah, he's doing all the stuff that I enjoy doing. He's getting to go out on the gym floor and chat to people, and he's getting to, you know, help people do the programs and stuff with people and teach classes. And I said, I could still want to do a bit of that, really. I'd rather be doing that than sat in my office looking at how many sales we've made, how many new members we've brought in, and how much revenue we've collected and things like that.
And the thing is, I think actually over the years we've both realised that that's the thing that we love, is working with people individually or in small groups, and like actually helping other people achieve their goals and get to where they want to be and overcoming the obstacles on the way. But actually we wouldn't have necessarily got to the point of realising that if we hadn't taken the steps on the other parts of the journey. And that's the thing, isn't it? You don't necessarily know that you want to do that when you're only 17. Yeah,
exactly.
And you're choosing what you want to do for the rest of your life.
If we go back to the education example, you know, that's at school, and this is not a bad thing at all, but it's always kind of encouraged, particularly once you get into high school, are you thinking about what you're going to do for your GCSEs, because then what you're going to go on to for your A-levels, and what you're going to go on to for university, and actually making kind of decisions, particularly I think the first kind of major ones, which GCSEs to do at 14. It's a tough time to make it in those decisions. You know, teenagers, hormones, growing up, you've got no idea.
I had literally no idea.
I did.
I chose to do an extra subject of Latin, and then very quickly realised that I didn't want to do that at all.
No.
I did Greek classical civilization for a while.
I mean, I was easy. Academically, I was great at school and grew up riding horses, having lots of animals, dogs, ferrets, rabbits, you name it, all sorts. I know. And I actually really wanted to become a vet. So through my GCSEs, I did the sciences, maths, English, did 10 GCSEs. And then for my A-levels, then went on to focus on the subjects that go into veterinary. Chemistry, which I then carried on with in the end, biology, also carried on with probably my two favourite subjects, and then had to do maths. And I did well in maths at GCSE, but the next level up at A-levels absolutely blew my mind. I mean, I still got a decent enough grade, but it just wasn't a high enough grade to go into veterinary. And actually at the time, it kind of really knocked me. And I remember my head of sixth form saying, it's a real shame, you're just a little bit kind of short of where you needed to be. But great subjects, you could go to being a teacher. And I was like, oh, there's no way I'm going to be a teacher. Actually, I probably should contact him and say, well, I went into teaching 10 years later, full time. And yeah, you were right. And but that was probably because he wasn't looking actually at the results. He was looking at me as a person, rather than going, well, with those results, this is what you can do.
Which is really great, because a lot of people in education wouldn't have the time to do that.
No.
So that's really cool.
And so set those goals, but be flexible with them.
If you put all your eggs in one basket and then it doesn't work for whatever reason, you realise that actually that's not really what you love, or for some reason it doesn't pan out. It can feel like a huge knock, which is what you felt, isn't it?
Yeah, and different things. A couple kids, doing some good stuff, talking to you guys over the internet. Who would have thought that? You know, when I was 18 and didn't quite get the A-level results I wanted. Yeah, so
But it's the
really
same
cool.
with all of the things in life, isn't it? Like even if you take it back to training, like there are some things I know that when I hurt my back and I couldn't do the things that I was able to do before, and to this day I haven't squatted with weights on a bar. I don't think,
Not for a long
which
time,
I used to love doing.
Yeah.
And actually, I found it really hard. I found it hard to even go back in the gym because I felt like I knew that I couldn't do what I'd been able to do before, and felt like, I don't know, like even like I was letting Mark down by not being able to do that, which is ridiculous. And it is that thing about being flexible and realizing, okay, well, for whatever reason I can't do this anymore. That doesn't mean I can't do anything, and we just need to relook at it and rework it and move forward. And it works with anything that you're doing, you know. I mean, teaching was... Anyway, teaching wasn't good. And,
in the end.
Yeah. And for lots of different reasons. But actually, if we'd just gone, well, no, this is what Mark's doing, and, you know, he retrained, did his PGCE whilst we had small kids, like, there's too much invested in this, we need to stick with it. Actually, it could have been a complete like it was a nightmare anyway, but it could have been really, really bad. And actually, to be able to go, okay, this isn't working, let's take a step back, let's refocus, let's relook at this, and let's move forward in a different way, and be okay with that. It doesn't mean you failed, it doesn't mean you're not good enough, it just means that, you know, like life is full of twists and turns.
And I've always kind of had that teaching and coaching aspect, but without doing another year's training to really kind of understand some of the theories of teaching, and then the years working in schools, having lesson observations and people helping me improve my teaching practice, I wouldn't be where I'm at now, in the sense of I don't always implement everything, because we learn stuff and we don't always implement it all, you know, but just little things that you kind of I've picked up over the years through that teaching does then transfer into my training and coaching and training other people. So yeah, it's good stuff. Speaking of training, let's answer Dave's question. HIIT workout yesterday, sore as hell today, which is good. Yeah, you definitely know you've worked. You can work through the soreness, but when would the benefit from HIIT again? I would say if you're really that sore, then a steadier day today. I don't know if you've got a way to do steady state, as in lower steady impact, a run, some stretches, a bit of bag work, you know, but steady away, and then potentially go again tomorrow or the day after. HIIT training is fantastic, except the downside is the additional recovery time that's potentially needed. So that's why I would actually suggest alternate days for now.
It really depends as well on the kind of HIIT you do, whether you're including weights or just doing body weight, and how long you did it for, because some people do something that they call HIIT for half an hour, and realistically that's not necessary to do it for as long as that, and whether or not that's even classified as HIIT.
It depends on the kind of the methodology, but knowing you, Dave, it would have been intense and probably quite long as well, which is cool, because obviously you're training for 6, 8, 10, 3 to 5 minute rounds, you know, for the different stuff you've done. So that's going to be up there. That conditioning is much needed, but the recovery is as important. So steadier day today, back again at it tomorrow, I would say, or even, as you say on your post here, on your comment Friday, even, you know, that's not, you know, working through a little bit of soreness can help the soreness, get the blood flow going again, help with the recovery. But pushing hard again, you're going to have a diminished return probably by after the second or third attempt of going day after day. Cool, good stuff. So, some good stuff there. Yeah, thank you, babe. You're great. Right.
I just sit here.
As always, we're here to say whatever we can support you with, we're here to help. So give us a shout, comment. You know, if I've said this on some other Q&As, if there's anything you want us to actually talk about that we might know about or might not, and we'll find out about it.
We like research.
We like
It's all
research
good.
and, you know, all that sort of stuff. So, yes, that's what I thought. Body weight and work like a party rocker.
Bag work sounds good.
Bag
Dave.
work is today, yeah, go again tomorrow. Perfect. Exactly that. Anything we can help with, please ask, comment, send us a message, and yeah, we're here. So have a great Wednesday, and we'll catch up again tomorrow.